Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And
about how detour is like part of the journey.
Yeah. Well, I think you see all these things out there that talks about, don't follow the new shiny object, don't get distracted by the new shiny thing. And while there's merit in that, I also know from experience, sometimes that shiny thing is actually what you're being called to do. That's the thing that maybe you're being called to at least focus on, maybe forever, maybe just for now. And I think that's why it's really important to ask yourself a lot of questions whenever that shiny thing presents itself. Is it something you're using to distract yourself from something you should be doing or want to do? Or is it something that you feel like you're being pulled away to do? Because I think there's a difference in that. And I know, like with me, there's sometimes where I'm just like, I'm just not feeling this right now. And sometimes it's something I'm not feeling like for good. Like I'm completely done with it. Like when the boutique, I got rid of the boutique. I didn't want to do that anymore. There was no hesitation. I knew it wasn't for me. The screen printing company, didn't want to do it anymore. I knew it wasn't for me. And I, sold both of those off. But there's some things, it's like, even if I kind of get burned out in the moment and I'm not really feeling that's where my focus is supposed to be, I'm not ready to completely call it all the way quits, but I'm okay with putting it on kind of like a autopilot,
Yeah.
I think that that's something that doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, 100%. Because even where I'm at right now in my current journey, like that's what's happening. Like I took a brief break. Like I think I needed that mental reset as well. And also I had certain financial goals I wanted to meet and certain things that I had to take care of that were a priority, because it's all connected in the one journey. But that detour or, that break from the main focus is, in a sense, it's for me, I'll get specific. It's like, okay, I took a 9-to-5. I'm not working as much in the entrepreneurship space. Not that I'm not working in it at all, but the time that I allocated for it has significantly decreased. So now that I'm over here in 9-to-5 land, it doesn't mean that I don't want to do entrepreneurship stuff. It just means that I need more of the 9-to-5 money in a sense to fuel, we recently moved, my partner and I. So it's like, okay, now I'm in a space where I can kind of focus a little bit more and stuff like that. So until the stuff on the other side picks up, then I got this. At least I can financially handle what I need to do. You know what I mean?
There's pluses to that. And again, I think when entrepreneurs decide to, leave their job, we all kind of celebrate that journey. Oh my gosh, you left your job to do, your dream, to follow your dream or whatever. And I think a lot of times, a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid to go back to that because they feel like they're failing. They failed at what they thought they were going to do, and or that they were giving up. But in a lot of ways, I know people that have done that, and it actually freed. I just spoke to somebody just about 2 weeks ago about this very topic, and she shared with me that she was struggling because, well, everybody knows how the economy is right now, but she was struggling. And, being able to get, more paid clients to be able to make her financial, needs met. And so she decided to go ahead and take this job. And she said what she found is actually she's able to do more in-depth creative work because she's not struggling to try to figure out, oh my gosh, how am I going to make this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? And there's something to be said for that because, there is this two side of that entrepreneurial coin. That yes, there is the ability for you to literally dream whatever you want to dream and make it into existence. There's the ability to make your own hours. There's the ability to do all kinds of things, right? You're your quote unquote own boss. But there's also the ugly side of it where it's okay. People don't pay their invoices on time and you still have to pay payroll. People don't, you end up having to stretch out a job because, people want more revisions. And so then, that puts you behind on everything else. I mean? So there's lots of negatives too. And I think when you're starting on this journey of deciding to become a business owner or an entrepreneur or a freelancer or whatever you choose to do, you need to know all sides of it. And you also need to be ready to decide, you know what, I think I do need to go back and like at least alleviate that one issue. You know, I can bring in money on as somebody else's thing that they've created. I just go show up, do my job, and come home. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah. You go there, you keep your mouth shut, you try not to make eye contact. You like, see you for the money. See you guys later.
Exactly.
You want for drinks later? Nah, I'm good.
Yep. There's something to be said for that. Like there's, I mean, pros and cons to everything, right?
Yeah, there are pros and cons to both sides, but I think you learn. I think sometimes when the detour comes up, whether you take the shift to whatever it is temporarily, it's just part of the journey, and you kind of find out what it means. Like if you find out that entrepreneurship is not for you, then cool. Like at least you found out, you know? And if you find out like, oh, okay, well, yes, I need to have that as a part of my life in some way, shape, or form, then just like you said, you now have a little more cushion to do that. You know, so it's definitely a journey, but I think the thing is it's dealing with the not so positive side of how you feel about yourself, like whether you claim you're a failure or you claim that you are a quitter. Like I think once we start doing that, we have to kind of dig into like why, like you did what you had to do, like why are you labeling it as such? Like you're creating the journey in a sense. So
I think because that's what's celebrated. That's what's celebrated in entrepreneurial land is I left my 9 to 5. I worked my way out of my 9 to 5. I retired my husband. Whatever, right? You see all these things and that's great. There's like absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with saying, okay, well, I'm not quite ready, or maybe I need to go back for a little bit, or maybe I need to go back for good, or maybe I just want to do the entrepreneurial thing on the side, or maybe I want to work part-time, for somebody else and then do the entrepreneurial also. Like, I think the real fact of the matter is that it can be a situation where you can literally design it the way you want it. And I think we get stuck in, it has to be one bucket or another, that it has to be I work a 9 to 5 or I'm an entrepreneur, or
like either or.
Accepted. Yeah. Sometimes it's accepted that you work a 9 to 5 and have a side hustle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in all reality, it's like what works for you. And what works for you right now may not necessarily be what works for you next year or the year after. And I know I've used the example of my kids a lot, but it's so true. Like, I mean, I will make my plan and then my family like changes the plan for me sometimes,
Yeah, something happens. You pick somebody up.
That's how it goes, right? Well, and not only just like on a day-to-day basis, but also just like I'll give you an example of with the cafe. I bought the coffee trailer. We ran the coffee trailer for a little bit. It was doing really well. And then all of a sudden, Cade needed to be pulled out to be homeschooled. He's on spectrum. And that took away the ability for me to drive the trailer everywhere, and that's a whole different ballgame to put employees into a company vehicle, have the employees, tote around the trailer, a whole lot more liability that I'm having to decide, is that even worth it or not? So sometimes what you make your business goals, even if it is working, may not be exactly what your family needs right now. And it doesn't mean, I had to choose like, okay, well, I mean, I can try a different school to see if because he was getting bullied, or I can just go ahead and pull him out and kind of change what I thought I needed to do business wise. And I decided that it was better for me to just kind of pull it back. It's not a make or break it for me to run the trailer. I can run it later. And I'm actually thinking about renting it out. But anyway, the point is that things change, right? And so when you are living any part of your life, there's going to be things that come up that's going to change something, and you get to decide what works best for you in that moment. And that may be take a job, that may be quit your job, that may be park your trailer you just spent $20,000 on, that may be a whole lot of things, right? Yeah, no, you're good. That's laugh at my pain. That's fine.
No, it's the way you just kind of loop that in. It was just so well done. So I get it though.
That's the reality, though, right?
It is the reality. It is the reality. But yeah, I was gonna say like that's why it's, I think more so than ever before, and you know more of my background than maybe like some of the listeners would know, but like it's so important to kind of try and surround yourself with like-minded people. Not to say anything ill about anyone else, but it's like you need to be in a certain type of atmosphere, and not to say that you can't do it if you're not in that atmosphere, but it's going to be a little more of a struggle if you're not around a supportive environment.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so interesting because even now that I'm working a 9 to 5, it's like I realize, you know, being out of the workforce for, I think it was what year is it now? 2024.
Yeah.
So in 2020 when I left, how many years ago? 4 years?
4 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. I could do mathematics. Okay. So just like from being outside of the culture and then jumping back in, it's wild to me because, you know, you hear certain, you know, views or opinions or understandings that others have, and you're just like, wow, like not supportive, you know what I mean, or judgmental or fearful or whatever the case may be, and you just kind of realize like, wow, like I have to really be around the right space to grow. And you have to kind of protect yourself, protect your energy and your force field. Like you, it's so important in this day and age, I should say. It's just, that's the thing that like boggles my mind the most, to tell you the truth. Like, it's like I've been so out of touch with like corporate culture, and then to go kind of like into an environment where it's like, I'm just like, whoa, that's how you handle that? Okay.
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh my God. Especially talking to, you know, you and Tim, and like being in that comfortable ecosystem, and then all of a sudden getting thrown back with the wolves. You're just like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's interesting how that happens. Like, I mean, I haven't been in the 9 to 5 world for quite a while. Now there's so many times that I get fed up with, I'll have like a bad week or whatever, and I'll get on Indeed. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to show up and do my job and not think about anything else. And I'll get on there. And then I also have to tell myself that I don't even know that I am like employable anymore. Like, because I don't know that I would have a great do a great job, I guess I should say, at keeping my mouth shut when I see something like that going down, like you just said, like that's how you're handling that. I don't know that I could say it inside of my head only.
Oh no, I verbalize. Okay, well, I try and be in the most understanding, respectful way. I offer it as a question, like, do we feel that this is the best way to move from point A to point B?
And how does that go?
Offer it as a question.
Did they answer?
Yeah, they did. We'll speak more about it later.
Right. And moving on.
Moving right along.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't think there is a perfect solution. Even if you find your dream job, you hear people say dream job. It's my dream job. It's my dream job. And even in your dream job, there's going to be something. There's still going to be something. And I always question those people that say that. It's like the dream relationships. The ones that are like, well, we never fight. There was a couple in here. They might hear this, and I don't care, whatever. But there was a couple in here the other day. I don't know. I made some joke, and they were like, I don't know. We don't know how that would be because we never argue. Like we love being around each other like all the time. We never argue. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And I'm sitting there. That makes me more suspicious. That makes me like, how? How
are
is
they
that?
Like super young?
One of them was younger than the other one was, but
got it.
I don't know. I have so many
first relationship honeymoon period. They haven't gotten to chapter 2 yet.
I don't know. That's just so well, and that's the thing. It wasn't new enough. Because I know how long they've been together, and it wasn't new enough. It's still what I would consider newer. They've probably only been together like 3 or 4 years, but still, in 3 or 4 years, they haven't got on your nerves ever.
Not one argument.
Not one argument. It's either somebody doesn't say what they think, or they're lying, and I don't know which one it is. But to me, that's what makes me suspicious. Like, that's the stuff, like, and it's the same thing, like, with a dream job, right? If you're like the dream job, no, I just love every single thing. I'm like, do you love every single thing, though? Like, everything?
Possibly.
Because I love my businesses. I love my kids. I love my husband, but you're not going to get me to say everything.
Right. By the way, can you hear the TV in the background?
A little bit, but.
Is it like horrible?
No, I can hear it every once in a while, but
a little bit. Thank you, love. No, because are you watching Okay, never mind.
What you watching?
No, I know what you watch. She's watching Harry Potter. But,
Harry Potter.
Because
did you see that post I put up? I know we're recording, but whatever.
Yeah, I did, and I sent it.
I laughed so much.
So
I was too.
He's like,
I know.
It's so funny.
I know. Oh, so yeah.
It's too funny. It's too
and
funny.
If you leave this in here and nobody knows what we're talking about, it was
Mine's
pony put to Voldemort for Harry Potter, and it was the best thing I ever seen. But anyway. Yeah. All right. But moving on again. But no, we tend to go on a journey when we're on a chat. I love it though. It's and I think that these kind of conversations are great to have because I don't think enough people have these kind of conversations.
No, they don't. It's super.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's great. No, it's not.
No.
Or everything sucks. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. There is the other side of it, which is also like. Okay, not like everything in your life can't go wrong. Like I don't know. I mean, we all have those moments where we feel like that's what is happening.
It's a perception.
Yes.
It's 100% a perception. Like, yes, bad things can happen, but I feel like some things have two sides or more than one side.
Stay with the goal. And I think that those are my regrets. Not that I truly believe in regrets because we learned during all of it, but if I had to say, like, what are my regrets, is not just being in the moment all the time. I should have been more in the moment and not worried about where I was going. And because, even whenever I've been able to check those things off my list, right, I make it to that goal, it's not what I think it's going to be. It's not the way I think I'm going to feel. It's all these things. And so, for me, it's like life is so fleeting that, really enjoying the moment and appreciating the moment, even on the suck days. Like maybe you're not going to appreciate it that day. That day you're going to be like, this sucks. But looking back, my suck days, it's like, okay, well, I learned this. I learned that. I learned this, and so, being able to really stop and try to remember to be in the moment and to appreciate the journey, I think is kind of what I try to do now. And I'm not always the best at it, but I have to remind myself when I start to get stuck in that, I'm like, nope. I have to remind myself, nope.
Yep.
One day at a time. This is what we're doing right now.
100%. It's the constant practice, because even I have those days where I'm just like, oh, dang, like, I really, like sometimes I look at the clock and I'm like, 2:00, man, I could have been editing something, or I felt I had like that freedom, when I worked my own hours and everything. And then I thought about it. I was like, yeah, but I let my circumstances were different. And I have to kind of like remind myself, like, look, this is not permanent. Like this moment is a moment to celebrate being grateful that you were able to transition. Like, you didn't sit in the dumps, because I had days where I was just like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get up and go to work today. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, or like, this is a struggle, this is tough, I feel like a failure, I feel like is this possible for me? You know what I mean? Like, or is it that it's like, it's like this like ruminating, constant questioning, but it's like, all right, like ground yourself and like realize like that you're in a moment, which is right now. And although those are questions you may or may not have the answer to, just like be here, like just be kind and just be here for a second. You know what I mean? Because some days I'm just like, oh God, but then I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Oh, I can still, like, it's not the end all. Like, I'm still here. Like, we can still do this.
Well, and I think that for a lot of us that are kind of struggling with anything in the professional world, or, bills, or all the things we have to do, right? You have to go to work, you have to pay your bills, you have to do all these things. We get so stuck in that revolving door of those things that we forget that that's really not the goal. Even if you do have business goals or professional goals or whatever, that's still not the goal.
Right.
The goal is to be happy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I started thinking about, because I feel like I have a different life every year. And maybe that comes with having such a large family, because obviously my kids are, changing and getting older, and we've had some move out. It's like every year I feel like I have a brand new life. It's like they just like rip it off. And it's like, here you are. It's a brand new life, but with the same responsibilities that don't necessarily always fit in my life now. And so, there's this like constant feeling of, okay, well, how do I make this fit? How do I make this fit? How do I do this? How do I do this? And I will drive myself, into this like anxiety ridden, like drive to try to get it all done. And I don't know, there's something that just kind of struck me like the last few months, and it started kind of at the end of last year, but really just on myself that's not the goal. That's not the goal. If whatever I get done, I get done. Whatever I don't. And whatever, like that saying, that meme that goes around, whatever crashes, I don't know what else says. But that's where I'm at. Like, not that I want things to crash, but, the things that I feel like I've missed out on are not the, monetary related things, or not the work related things, or not. It's the fact that, I have grown kids now. How did it go that fast?
Wild.
And, my baby is 7. And how did it go that fast? And so as I'm sitting and thinking these things, I don't know, I just got this flash one day. It's like, that I'm just an elderly lady. I'm not going to give a rat's ass about what goal I hit with my business. I'm going to really care about what I did with my kids, what moments I was there for. And so, not that I'm ready to just like throw the towel and not do any of it, because I think I would be unhappy not doing something. But I'm trying to find the joy in just finding my balance in that moment, and also trying to remind myself that my balance today, it might not be what my balance is 2 months from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now, because, historically speaking, like I just said, and that's not an exaggeration, my life is different every year. So different. Whole new life. Like, not just like, ooh, I got a new haircut, or ooh, we painted the walls. No,
right.
It's a whole new freaking life.
Yep. Legit. Because you got a NFL team over there. So everybody's going through this. Well, I think also because like you have your experience, or your experience, and then you have many other experiences, and those experiences are constantly changing. And evolving. So you're having different conversations with your kids too, because they're in different age groups, so absolutely, I can understand that.
And as things change, typically, the mom ends up, because the mom's typically the primary, and I don't want anybody like coming at me being like, well, dad is in this house, it's fine. In my house,
don't at me, bro.
Is the mom. Don't at me. I am not trying to hate on anybody. I'm just saying every single person I know is typically the mom that handles a lot of that type of thing. And so for me, it is, and my husband will help. He helps a whole lot more now, because again, we have a whole new life. So he's had to kind of step up and do some different things. But there's some things I've also had to realize, as much as I have complained that I want help on, I don't always want him to help on it. I get almost mad that he's doing it. Not only even because he's not doing it the way I would do it. It's actually more than that. It's almost like a jealousy thing that, no, that's my thing that I do with it. That's my thing that I do for the kids. I'm the one that does that. I'm the one that does that. This
like
year,
sandwiches or something, like,
yeah, this year I've had this like crisis in my mind about it.
That's interesting. I find that interesting.
I don't know. It's probably diagnosable. I don't know.
Yes,
it's like probably because I've complained about that my whole life. I've complained about it, the fact that I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this, I have to do that, and there's still some of those things on the list. But he'll step in and do some of these things, and I'm just like, wait, I don't know. It's like this, I guess, because I'm now trying to diagnose it myself. But I think maybe because that has been a part of my identity for as long as I can remember. You know, Jalen's 25. So for 25 years, that has been what I do. I've done that for 25 years. For 25 years, that's what I do, who I am. That's how I identified as a mom, even, is I do these things. I do all these things, and I'm a mom. I do all these things, I'm a mom. And so as, you know, Chad has picked up some of those things. There's been this kind of like, I don't know, there's been some tears that have come here and there. And actually, like, I'm almost mad about it. And even though I'm not, I am. If that, I know that makes no sense. No, maybe to a therapist. If there's a therapist out there that's listening right now.
There's a therapist sitting there. One therapist is sitting there like, girl, I don't know. And I think there's another therapist sitting out there going, wow, she got to that pretty quickly. That would have been 20 sessions.
Yeah. Well, there may be another one out there going, this is a gold mine. I need her number.
Yeah.
Gold mine.
Everything has its duality. It's like somebody's like, come to my office.
Yeah, they're seeing dollar signs and putting their kids through college. Yeah, keep you busy forever.
Come over here, I need a new pool.
Yeah. Exactly. But I don't know. It's interesting.
You are going through what many people go through, and I'm pretty sure it's moms 100% too, but could be dads too. So I don't want to say it's not, but just like you said, it's part of your identity. You know what I mean? So if you think about like you for 20 something years, 30 something years, or however long, you know, that's part of who you are. So if you can't fulfill that role anymore, or somebody else is stepping into that space, it's like, well, like, who am I in this realm? Like, I know who I am in business. I know who I am in here. But like in the, like, I think that happens though. I don't think it's just only with being a mom. I think that happens in like many spaces then.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting though. I've said that like 500 times. It is interesting to me.
It is.
So
no, it's
that's
interesting.
Count how many times Maria says interesting in this episode.
Oh my God, we should do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, we're doing a contest. How many times we say interesting and you could win.
Yeah. Well, one of my big things, I've had some of the listeners point out that I say absolutely a lot, and I never realized how much I said it until
really
now I notice it all the time. I do. I'll be absolutely. I say it a lot, like a lot. And I didn't even realize. Now you're going to notice.
Edit the show. I'm going to be like,
yeah, you're gonna be
holy
like,
crap.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine one day I send you like a text of like 25 times, Maria?
Yeah.
25 in 30 minutes?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't know. Life is interesting. See, I just said it again. I didn't even plan to say it. I didn't even plan. Okay. Anyway, but it is. And I think it is because, you know, we've never been this age before. You know, I've never been this age before.
I literally said that the other day.
Like,
I had this conversation the other day.
Yeah, I've never been this age. So I'm like, wait, is this what I'm supposed to feel like? And then I start like thinking like, oh my gosh, what am I going to feel like when Selah is 25? And I like I had that thought the other day. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? I'm not going to know what to do with myself, because it's not even like I'm sitting here talking like I've completely just like traveling all the time, and Chad's like, only one home. No, it's just the dynamic has changed to where he's doing storms only, so he's home more. He's not doing yeah. And so he's just only doing storms. And so that's putting him to where he can do a lot of the kids stuff. I'm not having to drag them here, drag them there, or like have a sitter, or, but he is able to, get them up, and he makes their breakfast. And like, it's not even huge things. Like it's minor things like that it's left me feeling a certain way. Cause it's almost like I felt lost about it, that I'm not the one getting them up in the morning. I'm not the one getting their breakfast. And it's like, as silly as that sounds, like it had me like, just kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't even know, what should I be doing? Like, is this all right with, and I'm still not all the way through that 100%. I'm still kind of like, I've come to the realization that that's why I feel that way, but I haven't got through 100% on how not to feel that way all the time. I've just made myself okay with it some of the time.
Do you just like start fighting him? Like, get out.
No, I haven't done that, but I have had like a couple of cry sessions where I go in there and I'm like, and I'm not hearing much anymore. And I'm like, you get to see him in the morning, and and he's just like standing there like he doesn't know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because in Manland it's like, so you don't want me to help?
Yeah. Exactly. That's actually what was said. 100%. You spoke Manland very well. And I'm like, it's not what I'm saying, and poor guy. I kind of feel bad, but I would not want to be married to me, because sometimes I don't even know what I want or what I'm thinking. Sometimes I don't even know. And he'll be like, well, I don't know what you want. I don't either. I don't know what I either. Because he's like, well, do you want to like step back and not do as much business? And I don't know, So it's like, and I think I've had to get to the point here lately that I'm just trying to take it day by day and try to. I guess
that's what you're supposed to do, though.
Well, and
now, right?
That's what I try to do. I'm trying to do it better now, but no, historically I did not. I had my everything planned out. Like I'm the planner person. I love my planners. I love my goal sheets. I love that stuff. And I didn't do a goal sheet this year. I remember we talked about that a little bit. I didn't do it this year. And it's already like, I feel like I'm naked.
You're like, so wait, what am I doing?
Yeah, I feel like I'm naked. But I think I needed to do that because last year is when stuff started kind of, well, it's really been changing all the time. But last year was like a lot of big changes. And I kept trying to like get back on my goal track. And I realized that I spent so much time and energy on doing that. And it was stupid. It's almost like, if, like the where people are like trying to keep the dam, like they're trying to like put the water back over the dam as a dam. That's literally what it was. Instead of just stepping back and being like, well, this sucks, and letting it just flood and then fixing the dam afterward. It was me trying to keep everything on track, keep it on track. And it wasn't even necessarily that, it was just terrible and there's nothing I could do about, some of it. Some of it was obviously not planned, but that's life, right? There's like, and I know that I can say it like whenever you plan things, there's always going to be those things that come up, that you need to do it. And I've had to do that in the past, but I think sometimes when it's boom, 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 it kind of leaves you reeling. And so then you're like, okay, well, what's the best option now? And, I think the fact that I didn't know what the best option was, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure. I think that's what had me kind of reeling more than anything.
Yeah. Like everything that you're saying, I think, especially the parts about like being aware that like this is the first time you're in this moment in your life. Like sometimes, granted, we may feel a little deja vu, like this has happened before, right? But realistically, like we've never been at this level in our life before. So we are going to learn a lot of things along the way, and we're going to make mistakes too. It's inevitable. Like, the goal would be perfection, but with perfection, what does that do for your character? You know, like, what does that do for you? Like, the reason why we're able to have this conversation is because we went through things unbeknownst to us and came out with wisdom on the other side. We hope, you know, we hope. But that's what allows us to, I think that's human nature. That's what allows us to share our journey and create human connection. Because somebody's going to listen to this and be like, oh my God, they're laughing, like, oh my God, I had that feeling the other day. Like, I know exactly what that feels like. But this is what brings us together and allows us to appreciate the now. Because it's like, damn, like, I'm not the only one going through this. Like, I got to be kinder to myself. That's what I'm practicing. I'm not perfect at it. And I know I'm probably never going to be perfect at it. But I'm practicing, like, those moments of catching myself when I'm, like, having that anxiety spiral and being like, yo, you're freaking out right now. That's okay.
Yeah.
Just understand you're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Yeah.
There's a comedian, his name is Tom Papa. Hilarious. And
when you call me Tom Papa. Sorry, I had to do that. Yeah, go ahead.
That might be his new song now for when he goes out on stage. He's like, I'm a pimp.
Yeah.
But anyway, so a lot of his comedy and even the way he says it, he's like, you're doing great. You're doing great. You put pants on today. You're doing great. You didn't freak out. Maybe you did a little bit, but not a lot of it. And that's okay. Like, that's like his kind of like structure sometimes in the shows, but it's real. We can all relate to that because it's like, damn, like some days, like I just sit there and I just freak the hell out. And then I realize, like, oh, I'm okay. And then you give yourself an ice cream and it's fine.
Well, and I think it's, I think I almost said I think it's interesting.
It is
interesting because we can teach something and then we feel like, okay, well, I've learned this thing and now I can tell other people about it. Mm-hmm. And then something else happens and you fall off that other cliff that was over there. You're like, damn it. Because that's what I feel like it is. Like, how many times we had a conversation where it's like, I went through this thing, I learned this thing, and I'm like, I'm going to tell people this thing. And I'm so excited. I made it through this thing. And on the other side, I'm looking back at that thing. I'm like, that sucked. But guess what, guys? You got this. And then it's like I'm walking and I just like fall off another cliff. And I'm like, damn it.
So
you know,
it's like cliff.
Sucks.
The sign looks different.
Yeah.
It's the same clip. You're just like, I don't understand. I did everything right because I learned and everything's supposed to be fine. And you're just like, oh, wait, this is a little different. But it's the same thing.
It's like they put different wallpaper up. They put different wallpaper up on the cliff, and they're like, "No, this is a different cliff."
And then you rip it down. And you're like,
"No, it's not." Yes.
All wrong.
Exactly. And anxiety. I can list a whole lot of other things. Like, I mean, you know, my need to feel like I'm in charge of my situation was why I always wanted to plan. And I actually had this thought the other day that,
oh my God.
And because, and I'm glad I already kind of decided I wasn't going to make all these goals, but I have been so insistent on always having these goals, always having this plan. Me and Chad, me and my husband, Chad is my husband for people that don't know that, it's probably our biggest fight is whenever I can call him and I'll be like, so what's your plan for the day? And he'll be like, I don't know. I mean, I was going to get up and eat something. And I mean, he's just like, nah, through the whole day. Right. And I'm like, but my mind is not naturally wired like that. My mind is naturally wired way different. But I feel like that is not necessarily the best way to do it because I am also the one that starts to freak out about, again, how to throw the water back over the dam because it's cracked while everybody else is just like, this is fine. It'll be fine. And I want to be that person that says it's fine. And every once in a while I do with my eye twitching. I can say, I'd be like, okay, my eye's twitching. But my natural is to try to fix it. I have to fix it. And I've wondered, I thought this the other day, if that's not why so many things happen, is to remind me that, listen, let's hit that 2x4 across the head. The whole universe, God, and everybody, right, is like, listen, you are not in control. You're not in control. Give me the planner. Like they're like pulling it out of my hands, and I'm like,
I'm laughing because I know how I align, I should say, how you feel, because Natasha literally, like, I tell her, like, I'll be like, okay, like, I was like, I don't understand, but like, I have structure for my day. Like, I have I was like, yo, if it's not in my calendar, I don't know if it's happening or not. Like, all these crazy things. Put it in the calendar. And her and I'll be like, she'll be like, what are you doing today? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing today? It's in the calendar. You know, and like sometimes she'd be like, when I met you, you said you were spontaneous. This is not spontaneous.
I am with some things. That's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. With some things, I am super, like, you want to go do something fun? I'm spontaneous. Now, as I get older, it's like spontaneous by like 5 p.m., but that's a whole other story. But, but I'm like that kind of stuff. I don't care. Like, but if I feel like it's something I'm in charge of, like something that I'm responsible for, that's where I have a breakdown. And I'm responsible for a lot of shit.
I call it time allocation. I need to allocate. How much time am I allocating? Like, think about how I'm talking about my life, Maria. I'm just like, yo, I'm allocating 40 hours, 20 hours, 16 hours. Like, everything needs to be accounted for. And then, to tell you the truth, like, sometimes it just combusts. And that's when I freak out, because I'm like, oh my God, I went over my allotted time, because it's just, it's too much. Sometimes you just have to, like, break the structure a little bit. It's okay. Like, you could start again, like, just a little bit.
Well, and that's, I swear I've wondered if that's not why this stuff goes on, is just because that's still something I'm supposed to learn. I haven't learned it all the way. I keep having to relearn. And so like, I'm trying to embrace that and figure out that, you know, yes, some things have to have like be put on a calendar. Like a meeting needs to be put on a calendar. You know, paying the quarterly taxes is on a schedule, right? There's certain things, but I don't need to plan and overplan everything. And I don't need to overplan. Like I said, that's me and Chad's biggest fight, because if he's at home and I know all the things that need to happen there too, and I'm not at home, I will call him to ask him, because I'm freaking out about the things I know need to be happening there that I don't know if he's allocated the time for. I don't know if it's going to be done on time. I don't know what's happening. And that makes me feel out of control when I'm not even there. So at this point, again, it's diagnosable. And I've caught myself in it. I've caught myself in it when he's like, I don't know, I'm going to get up and, you know, make bread. I'm like, that's not a plan. I'm going to eat breakfast as a given. That's not a plan. What else are you doing with the whole day? Breakfast doesn't last that long. What's the plan for the whole day? I don't know, Maria. Just tell me what to do. I don't want to tell you what to do. I want you to do what you feel you need to do. Well, I don't want to like boss him around either. So, but what I'm actually doing is trying to like shove it on him. And I caught myself in these things. And then after I get off the phone, I'm like, how have I become this person? Like,
who am I?
I don't even know. Like, so I don't know. Like, I think it's just a reminder that, again, we're on this journey. And while I've learned a lot of things, you know, I'm still on the journey. There's things I still have to learn, and I have to like catch myself on and be like, it doesn't matter. You know, as long as the kids are taken care of and the animals are fed, like really, it doesn't matter what's on his freaking calendar. Why do I care what's on his calendar?
No, it doesn't matter. I think also, you know what I've been realizing, like a lot of, like, as I've been interacting with different, like, people, like, it just seems sometimes like you'll have somebody that's more type A and they get with somebody that's not type A. And they're like, I need you to like get on a schedule. Like, I need you to like, it's like, they're not going to do it. And I feel like there's a benefit there, because even with me, I'm like, I like structure, like to understand what I'm expected to do for the day. I need to like allocate my time a certain way, and then, you know, yada, yada, yada. And then I'm with someone that does that, but differently than I do. Or sometimes she'll be like, you know, I'm just gonna, you know, this is the one thing I want to get done today. And I'm like, and what time is that happening, ma'am? And then she's just like, what do you mean what time? You know, argument.
Oh, I do.
But yeah, so you know what that's like. So it's just like, realizing like maybe you're in your ideal relationship, which is tell them what to do.
Yeah.
But the reality is they're not going to do it the way you do it because you're a different person. But they'll get it done. It just certain things you might have to be like, okay, I'll do that one. You don't do that one. If I catch you doing that one, we're going to fight.
I don't know if you're like this, but I know I always jokingly say I have like selective OCD because
only 100%.
certain things I care, like I'm like that on, because on some things I'm very, very type A, as you know. But honestly, on some things, Chad is very type A, but it's not the same things. There's things that we are hyper OCD about, but it's not the same things. And those are usually the things that we'll argue with each other on, because we are both very type A, but it's not on the same things, which could be used for good or evil, right? That's what I tell him. I'm always like, this right here, nope, we need to take a step back. This could be used for good or evil. This could be a benefit if we use it properly, but it could be used for good or evil.
100%. Well, I mean, that's a good realization, though. And I think that's where the wisdom comes in, because you start to learn like who you both are in this space. You know, a lot of people struggle with that because you're going to change, or you're going to have those self-realization moments, but it's about how you handle them. And it's not going to be like perfect, because just like we said, this is the first time you're in this space right now. You know, like, especially for you, I can't imagine. I would probably be crying like every 10 to 15 minutes because it's like,
I don't have it on a schedule. It just comes when it comes.
It's not on the schedule. That's where you're spontaneous.
That's where I'm spontaneous. I'm like, I'm being spontaneous.
Because it's like, all of a sudden you blink, this one's older, this one has a kid, this one's moving out, this one's staying home, this one's like...
It's insane.
I would be, hence the name Successfully Chaotic, because I probably could handle it, but just thinking about it in my current present state, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know, and again, it's like, I wouldn't change it, but it just adds to everything to where it's like, okay, well, I'm always shifting and I don't feel like anything is still and stable, but it's not supposed to be, because if it was still unstable, then
You'd be bored to heck.
I would be
You'd
bored.
Probably flip a table just to be entertained.
I probably would. I know. I've told my husband, and he's like, yeah, that would last for 2 weeks max. And he said, then you'd be doing, and he was like, then you'd be doing something. He said, you would be doing something, Randall. And he's probably right, because like, I don't even know if I'd last 2 weeks.
I personally cannot imagine you just sitting there doing nothing. Your brain doesn't work like that, Maria. I don't believe it.
Even when I was a stay-at-home mom, I was freelancing and doing stuff on the side. You know, I had my little, you know, farm business stuff. I had, you know, I trained on the side. I always still had little side hustles, even as a stay-at-home mom. Because I just, I don't know. I don't know.
You're not that kind of person.
I'm not. I want to be, though. When I grow up, that's what I want to be. Want to be calm and boring.
Yeah, right.
I know.
I remember one day I stayed home from work and I was like, you know what? I really need to just like embrace doing nothing. Like, I just need to do nothing. And then I sat there doing nothing. I was like, God, I just need to be doing something. I need to do something. Like, it was the same. I'm just like, yo. And I'm like, Stacey, you can't do nothing? You can't do nothing? I was like, I can do nothing. I was like, watch me do nothing. And I was like, but nothing is not productive. I need to do yoga. Like, am I going to get fat? Like, is my health okay? Like work, find a way to make money. Like,
Yep. It's like you're inside my brain. That's me too.
I can't do nothing. I can't. Like, sometimes some people are like, yeah, I don't work. It's amazing. And I'm like, that would drive me insane. I can't, like, by me being unemployed, that's how I started my podcast. Like, I can't not do something. Like, I remember I learned how to change the hard drive to a solid state drive on my computer. Like, just bust that thing open. Never did any computer work before. Figured it out. Like, never did a radio show before or a podcast. Man, I watched so many YouTube. I was like, we got to do something. We got to do something.
Yep. No. Well, I think a lot of people are like that. And I don't know. I think one of the takeaways from this show is wherever that you're at in this journey, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it doesn't feel like it. And
Yeah.
I know it's if you're in a really like crappy moment right now, you're probably like, well, that's not what I want to hear. F you, Maria. But you know, even those moments, like I learned a lot from my really crappy moments, like a really not until later, you know, I had to like get through it all and be like, oh, okay, well, but you know, it's one of those things that being able to be aware that you're in the journey, be aware that it's okay if you don't know what the next step is, be aware if today you decide you want to do this and tomorrow you decide you don't.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I think that's a beautiful way to kind of like sum it up, to be okay with where you are at. And one of the quotes that I have in my head is comparison is a thief of joy. Like you can't, it's going to be hard to get to a space of gratitude and appreciation or nowness if you're looking at somebody else and saying, damn, like I'm not doing anything with my life, or maybe I'm too chaotic or something. Like maybe my life should be different. Maybe I'm not in the right space. Like it's realizing that you got to appreciate where you are 100%, and just try to be like, look, everybody's path is different. And hey, maybe for this person here, they do need to be in that space with 15 companies at 20 years old. Or maybe you need to be in the space where you're 90 and you're like, you know what, I'm going to start my first business. Or I'm 90, you know what, I'm going to go and get a 9-to-5. I always want to be this. Like, or I want to be, like, whatever it is, just, you know, align with what you're feeling and try and connect with others in a similar space where it could be motivational and helpful for you. Because, like, why not? I guess that's the best way to say it.
No. And I love that. It was one of my favorite quotes. The comparison is a thief of joy. And I know, you know, there is, you know, a lot of people that probably will resonate when I say this, but there a lot of the moments when I was kind of, you know, following my dreams and building my business stuff and all of that, you know, I kept, you know, I had that goal in mind, and I kept like, you know, reaching these goals and doing these things to reach my goals, but I wasn't in that moment enough. And those are the moments, like I said earlier in the show, those are the moments that I miss. And sometimes it's not only that the comparison is the thief of joy, you know, but it's also the fact that looking back, it's those moments that you were in that you thought wasn't enough at that time that you miss.
Yeah, 100%, 110%. Wow. Yeah, I don't even know how to say or what to say to that, but yeah, let it ring, Maria.
Ring a ding ding. So, all right. Well,
you said ring a ding.
Ring a ding ding. So I just realized we were going to talk for almost an hour here. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And if you're listening on the podcast platforms, then I guess just make sure that you're subscribing and liking, and you can go follow Pryce on Purpose as well.
Thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Maria. You are awesome. Make sure you guys check out, I don't know if you guys are aware, but Maria has a store on Amazon. I was actually checking out a few of your products because I like that it's like a combination of like the things you like. It's like plants, things. I was just like, ooh, you know, I went straight to the electronics section. I was like, yo, I was like, do I need that, like, that tower for, like, it's like the tower has the USB ports, but it also has like the power ports, and it's like, but it's like a circular square situation.
I like it. I have one.
And then I think you have the handheld for the phone, so that you could like the, what is it called, a stabilizer?
Yeah, and there's a bunch of crap on there that I'm a frequent flyer of Amazon products, but it's funny. Like Selah, my youngest, she likes to always say, that's mommy's favorite store. Amazon, that's mommy's favorite store. Amazon,
really?
That's mommy's favorite store. Yeah. And I was like, hold on, let's get you recorded That way we can put it online. That's mommy's.
Yes.
Smart.
Did you record?
And then you know how they do? No, but I thought that would be funny in my brain. You remember the commercials where the kid would say something, then they'd smile, and then their tooth would like have the blink on it.
Yes.
That's what I had in my mind. That's mommy's favorite story. Blink.
That's amazing. No, you
I'm
gotta
like,
do that.
I don't know how to do that, but I figure it out. I thought that would be so funny.
Yeah, we need to find a way to do this. 100%.
So, but yeah, thank you so much for being on today, Stacey. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's been a great conversation.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.